and live your best life. Basically, we're here to inspire you to heal and transform. Byond umbrella consists of Byond Talk, Byond Virtual Learning Space, Byond Coaching and Mentoring Services, and Byond Online Shop. For more information, visit us at www.sandraturgot.com or contact us at byondonline@gmail.com.
That TV.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Aaron George. Welcome to Byond Talk.
And I'm Sandra Turgot. Welcome to Byond Talk.
Excellent. Glad you all can join us today. It's a beautiful Friday here in Brampton. Looks like it's raining over there in Mississauga, but the sun is shining here in Brampton, my part of Brampton. How are things where you are, Sandra?
It's a little bit overcast, but not too bad. It's still light out,
Excellent.
But a little bit overcast, yeah.
It's cooling down a little bit.
It's cooling down, yeah.
Yeah.
It was really hot today.
Yeah.
So
like 31.
Yes, I know.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, to our viewers, again, welcome to Byond Talk, Walking with Purpose. And for those of you that are new, we want to just give you an idea what Byond Talk is all about. And Byond Talk is a social mentoring forum. It's a place designed to engage our community in thought-provoking conversation about triumphs, pain, grief, growth, and success. This space is designed to inspire you to foster transformation and healing. And we believe life is one big classroom where teachers and learners are interchangeable. And our mission is to inspire you to go after your healing so you can transform. One of the greatest tragedies in life is to lose your authentic self and accept the version of you that is expected by everyone else. So today we're going to have a great discussion, and all in the vein of inspiring you to go after your healing and transform your life.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for that. That was an amazing intro. So today we're talking about Blackness. I say that bold, Blackness. We're talking about Blackness today. But under Blackness, we want to highlight innovation for our viewers to understand that we are creators, we're innovators. We want to highlight the investment part of our Blackness. Our community needs us. Like, we need each other. We need each other to invest in each other so that we can grow. And we're talking about forgiveness and healing, forgiving those who have harmed us, forgiving those who meant us harm, and healing, which is a big piece in our community. It's so big. There's so much trauma. There's so much hurt, and it's almost like the pain just keep reopening, or the sore, I should say, just keep reopening. And every time we think it's getting better, it just reopen. And I think all of us are feeling it. So we want to talk about creating healing space for each other, especially our men. Aaron, what do you think? Yeah?
Yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I think it begins with the individuals. And I think as we heal individually, then we kind of, extend that to those around us. And healing has to go way back. It's not just, the present time. There's stuff that's being carried forward from generation to generation. And, it's evident in just the behavior, that was passed on from family to family to family. And it's impacted us. Some in most cases, it's negative, because a lot of it has to do with how we see ourselves, the things we say to ourselves about ourselves, the limitations, and just that mindset that we have to overcome. So healing starts with the individual, I would say.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But I just want to open with a little bit of honesty. Well, a lot of honesty. I don't know if other people or people who are watching, please, we want you to comment. We want you to join the conversation. That's really why we're having this conversation. Aaron, I think you need to turn something down.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I've been feeling really down. I've been, and because of that, I know we didn't have this on our list to talk about this whole the mental effects of what's going on. It's really troubling, and I feel like I've been feeling it all week. I've been feeling it all week because I'm a mom. I'm talking about George Floyd, and George Floyd is, I think he is a representation of all the men and women who have been killed over, I would like to say 400 years, Aaron. It's been 400 years of this, and millions of our people have been killed. And now coming to modern day society, they've been killed a lot by the police, right? But before, any old person could just kill one of us and it would have been okay, right?
Right.
And I think it just opens a lot of wounds, and I've been feeling it, and I didn't even want to do the show tonight, and I think that's my honesty. I was saying to you, I just feel blah, and also I didn't feel like I have anything to say. I know I have a lot to say, but I feel like it may come across wrong.
Right.
And if I be honest, it may come across wrong, and I was kind of reluctant to be here tonight, but we're here, and we're going to talk about it, because I believe if we stay silent, Aaron, we're a part of the problem. I believe we really have to talk about it.
Right.
It has to be said. Yeah.
It is a big problem, and it's an open wound that is time for healing, and it's such a large, it's a global thing. It's not just here in North America, and it's going to take a lot of work and time to bring the healing that's needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Aaron, like, I'm going to throw a question out. I know it's you and I tonight. It's okay. We got this, right? We got this. So it's you and I. I'm going to throw some hard questions out at you.
Sure.
So what does, we talk about being Black.
Yeah.
And what does Blackness means to you? Yeah. What does it mean to be a Black man in North America? Somebody that was raised in this system.
Well, I came to Canada at 10 years old, and I didn't know anything about anything. I got put into a school system where people didn't look like me. People would laugh at me, at the way I was speaking. I still remember being in the 4th grade and standing in front of the class and telling my classmates where I was from, and nobody had any idea where Grenada was, first of all. And I think at some point I had said, I wanted to say the number 3, but I said, in my Grenadian dialect, tree, and, the kids all started laughing at me, So I think coming here, I kind of developed like an introvertedness, I didn't think I was very outgoing or proactive, because I kind of felt I was different from the people, my classmates, and I think I had that attitude, for a long time, but lately, in terms of the Black, I've got a chance to look back and look at the history and where that term came from. And it's not really a term that I like or I want to ascribe to myself, simply because of the connotations of Black. Everything bad is Black, Black Monday, Black Friday, Black, right? So I think when you look at that word subconsciously, I think there is a message there that just makes you feel that, you're less than, and that's a narrative that I'm working to change with myself. And and within the community. That's not a term that we should be using. I know, it's become a slogan, and it's in everybody's top of everybody's mouth, but I don't think it's a term that we should ascribe to ourselves. There's a lot of stuff we have to unlearn, that's been passed down from generations for generations as a result of slavery and a result of how the world looks at the melanated man, the original man. We need to reclaim our own identity and to rebuild it, reshape it into how it was centuries ago before the Europeans Africa and looted and killed and gave us their religion and got into our head and made us feel that we are less than they are, and that we've never contributed anything to civilizations, which is so wrong. And we learn all that in school. We learn wrong history. We don't learn our history, but we have to take it upon ourselves to find the information that we need to build up ourselves, because we have always been here and we will continue to be here no matter what, no matter how they do or to try to destroy us, to make the black man feel that he's the bottom of the scale, which is so wrong. We are we're more powerful than we know.
We're more powerful than we know, Aaron.
Use this time to awaken to our greatness.
But how do we
better than anybody else? It's not one where we put other races down. But it's important that we reclaim our own identity. We know what it is, and we can stand firm in it and be who we are, who we're meant to be, and manifest our destiny while we're here.
Wow, that was a mouthful, Aaron. Jeez, I set you off. I know you've been doing some thinking this week. I think we all are.
We talk about that wound. We talk about the wound, and there's going to be controversy, and growth, the mind that's brainwashed cannot understand truth. The mind that's brainwashed cannot understand truth. We have to step outside of this colonized brain that we have. We've been taught how to think as a colonizer. They taught us their language. We don't even speak our own indigenous language, right? We have to step outside of that and renew our mind, get the information we need to uplift ourselves.
But Aaron, we can only, I know we can do this individually, but you're doing this. You can tell that you're doing this, and I'm doing this. But collectively, we need to do this together, and that's why we're talking about our blackness. I know you like our melanatedness. Is that a word? Our melanatedness,
our humanness. I'm a human being.
Our humanness. Our humanness.
What were you in Africa before the Europeans came there?
Exactly. We didn't call ourselves blacks. We were just people.
Get rid of these labels. These limiting labels.
You are so right. We were just people when we were in Africa. And the reason why I'm saying that we need to do this as a collective, as a community, is understanding that, like I said, and I'll say it again, no man is an island, no man stand alone. And as a people, we need to recognize that. And as I want to point this out, we're in pain, but we will continue to be in pain until we recognize that we're a collective group of people and we need to stand together. We need to stand united. That means we need to take off the labels, like you say, and we need to stop calling ourselves Africans or Jamaicans or Grenadians or Trinidadians or Guyanese or wherever we are on this planet. And we need to see ourselves as a people. Whether you want to say melanated people or black people, we need to see ourselves as a people, because a Black America, Black Canadian, That's foolishness. And the fact that we're saying that, that's making me irated right now. The fact that we can put ourselves in little boxes and people divide us in little silos, and we're spending our monies with them. We're giving them, we're sending our children to them to be taught. And so the cycle continues. So we're not teaching our children our history. We're depending on a school system that does not talk about our history at all. And for those of us that are from the Caribbean that say, well, I'm not African and I don't want to go to Africa and I'll spend my money and I'll go to Europe and oh my God, it sickens my stomach when somebody say I'm going on a European cruise. Stop it. Stop it. Take the flight and go to Africa and see your continent, because there's something about going home that's going to ignite that sense of identity, a sense of who you are, right?
You know,
we can talk. Let me shout out all that, Aaron, all that talk. Let me shout out to our guest. We have some people watching. I know this is hot topic. This is hi. I just want to shout out to Miss Doreen, and she's watching, and she's been talking. She's been commenting. She said we need to work together to be independent of the white society, not to be held back in our finances or our creativity. We are strong together. That's hi, Miss Doreen. And Siobhan Lauren said the census was hard for me because I had not identified as just one thing. And that's powerful. I've not identified as just one thing. Somebody said, Fina Brooks said yes. She's agreeing. So hi guys, thank you all for watching. This is a hard conversation, but we must have it. And if I sound a little bit off the chain tonight, I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm passionate about this stuff. So I'll turn it over to Aaron.
Yeah, you know, it's important to know our history. I know I've been to Africa 3 times. I went to Benin twice and Ghana once, and you know, we've been looking into our family history through this DNA stuff, and you know, I know that, you know, the melanated people can be found in almost every corner of the world. You know, long before time. You know, but I think it's important. You know, we some of us were born. Some of us have been in North America. Our family have been in North America, you know, for over 25,000 years. Right? Way before Columbus. When Columbus came here, he found people that look like me here. Right? It's in his journals. You know, South America, the Olmecs, and the Mayans. You know, if we go back and we look at that, but somewhere in history, a lot of that stuff got changed. You know, rewrite the history book to let the indigenous people, the indigenous man, melanated man, forget who he is. And it's time that we start to get back into our memory, get back to our rightful mind, you know, and you know, elevate himself. But it starts with us individually.
It starts with us.
Unlearning.
Unlearning.
That's the hardest part. You know, there's a saying, you can bring a horse or a sheep to water, but you can't make him drink. You know, you got to thirst. You got to be hungry. You know, you got to be hungry. You know, you got to be hungry to get inside and know who you are and to live out your destiny. You know, and once you start thinking in those lines and start asking the questions, the information will come to you. Believe me.
Is not that what we say? If you ask the question, you will get the answer. And when I started asking the question, I believe God led me to Ghana. And last year I took a trip to Ghana, and I was able to understand for the first time the power that I have as a Black woman. I see the resilience. It takes a special kind of people to go through what our ancestors went through 400 years ago and in Africa when they went to quote unquote colonize us. Our people went through hell, but guess what? They stood. They were not weak.
Oh no, they fought.
Stood. Even though they were locked up in dungeons and treated less than human, they stood. They died together, and they came across the Atlantic, knowing that they had freedom in the back off their mind. They know that, and they did that. They fought for it. So we don't have any excuse. We should not get up feeling like we're less than. And I want to point this out. All of us, every single one of us, should take the trip back to the land of our ancestors. I'm just putting that out there. When they open up the airport, you need to get on that plane and go back to the land of your ancestors. You need to see firsthand what that looks like. Because I believe that's the beginning of unveiling your true identity.
Yes. Sandra.
It is. Yes.
So my great-great-grandmother on my father's side was a native to the island of Grenada, Arawak, the Caribs.
Wow.
You know? So there's two sides. There's always more than one side to the story. I know you're passionate about the continent. I'm passionate about the continent. We can't exclude those that maybe their lineage have not been on the continent for thousands of years. You know, we're a great mixture of people, and I'm saying melanated people are the original people, and they have lived everywhere. I know there was a migration out of Africa maybe 25,000 years or so ago, but you know, not everybody wants to go back.
But we want them to go. Everybody should go back. I'm not changing my talk here. I'm on fire tonight. Everybody. So your vacation destination,
right?
Your next vacation destination should be Africa. Go back. I don't care where you go. You could go to West Africa. You could go to Ghana. You could go to Nigeria. You could go to Benin. You could go to Niger. You could go wherever. But just go to the continent. It bothers me when my Black friends say, I'm going to take a trip to Europe. Why? Why do you want to take a trip to Europe? Mark you, I'm not knocking my white friends here, but I'm saying why? Tell me why. They can't tell me. Oh, just to be a tourist. Why do you want to be a tourist in Europe?
You know what? I think it's how the picture is painted. You know, Europe is painted as
exactly.
But there's a lot of beautiful places in Africa that Europeans go to vacation. I heard Gambia has some nice places. When I was in Benin, people were talking about it. Ghana, you know, has beautiful places to see, and you know, and it is an experience. You know, it's an experience going to, you know, to the motherland, and just meeting the people, and you know, I think we have to, before we make that trip, we just have to again get rid of those preconceived notions, those things that have been planted into our head about Africa. No more than 6 hours.
Someone said no more than 6 hours on a plane.
Yeah,
sorry.
You know what?
I'm gonna message her. She's gonna come with me.
We're used to the Caribbean, you know, 5 hours and we're home. But Africa, when we went to Benin, it was a 24-hour transit, but actual travel air time was about 13 hours. You know, but get past those mental blocks, those things that keep you from there. If it isn't your desire to go. You know, I remember, you know, way back in the 90s, I wanted to go to Jamaica, you know, and there was so much stuff that I'd heard about Jamaica, you know, and it just built up a fear. But when I went to Jamaica, you know, man, the people there, you know, was so industrious. I felt so at peace. Not to say things doesn't happen. Things happen here in the GTA, but I felt so at home in Jamaica, and it was just so good to be among the people. I mean, we didn't bother staying in a resort. We were just, you know, in with the locals, and that's the best way to travel, and that's the best way to get connected to a people.
Yes. Osai is joining us, and she's backstage, so we're just gonna let her on. She's on now. Hi, Osai. Hello, Osai. Hello.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear us?
You can't hear?
Okay, so Chief is working that. He's working that out in the background.
I have absolutely no sound.
We can hear you. We can hear you now.
I can hear you.
We can hear you, Osai. Okay. So let's continue the conversation. Osai? While you figure it out.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay. No problem. We'll get it worked out. But yeah, so like I said, when I went to Jamaica, you know, it was nothing like I had been told or you know, I had imagined. I had a great time. You know, we went into, they had a cave in Montego Bay. We went to the cave. We went to the one of the ports. You know, party at night. The local foods, man. The ackee and saltfish for breakfast. My God, it was the best. You know, and Africa, Ghana, when I went in Ghana, you know, the pounded,
I still can't hear.
fried beans and rice dish was so incredible. I loved it. And some of the tours, you know, we went to some of the castle, Almina Castle. That was quite an experience, you know, to be in that castle and to see where, you know, they had held all the captives. You know, the men and the women separate from each other, and the stench in that room. You know, I mean, you cannot have a dry eye when you're in that room. Just to imagine what your forefathers had gone through, and your foremothers. You know, the women, what they went through in that place, and you know, and it just it changes you.
So Fina said we haven't done a good job at selling Africa to the world, and she said we can do better. And Fina, I do agree with you that we have not, and it's because a lot of us didn't know. When you don't know better, you can't do better. Like I myself started researching probably about 7 years ago. Just started being more inquisitive about who I am as a person, as a Black person. And I think I never had to ask that when I was growing up in Jamaica. We know we have classism in Jamaica and all that, but here it was when I came to Canada that I realized how Black I was. If you ask me, I realized that I was Black in a different way, that opportunities were not available to me like it should be. So I started doing that research on and who I am, and just wanted to know my history, and I started reading, and it leads me back to Ghana, or lead me back to West Africa and to Ghana, and that's why I took the trip. And like Aaron said, when somebody said, when you're assertive or you speak up, and when somebody said, oh, that's an angry Black woman, it's odd. I said, when I went back to Africa, I realized, and I said, we have a right to be angry. We're not even angry yet. Seriously, we're not. But if they depict us as angry people, we have a right, because as Aaron said, if you see what our foreparents went through, so we inherited that anger from them, if you may. Because can you imagine somebody come rip you from your family and put you in chains and having you walk miles and miles and miles barefoot and in chains, and take you to a dungeon, which is a castle, and there's a church upstairs, and there's men in uniforms upstairs, and our foreparents were in a dungeon where they were in their feces, in their puke, in their whatever body fluid they had, they were sleeping in it, and they would take her woman and they would rape her woman. So that kind of trauma, and when they rape her woman, they showed us how they would take her woman in the courtyard and shower them and send them upstairs to the governor's base, where soldiers, and they would all rape her, and and sometimes she was a virgin and sometimes she was a kid. And they would rape her, and they would send her back down to where she would meet her sister or maybe her mother in that dungeon. And they would send her back in whatever state they left her in. If she was a virgin, just imagine what state they left her in. And she would have to return. So can you imagine the psychological, the mental distress that our people went through, psychological distress, the trauma that they went through. And so it just breeds more of the same. I just believe that's what happened. So we grew up seeing the anger passing. I don't call it anger. I call it righteous indignation passing from one generation to the next. And here we are today dealing with the exact same thing. And this is why I'm so passionate about this. It's almost like we're dealing with the same thing, just in a different way, that it does not stop. So, but why? So Aaron, let's talk about it. Why do you think white people are afraid of us? Why do you think they're scared? Like when you go to the store, why do they follow us? Why do they Why are they afraid of us? Let's get
Well,
into
I
it.
think it all has to do with the programming, Sandra. We've all been programmed, black, white, and indifferent. We've all been programmed to see certain people in a certain light, and it's up to us to get past the conditioning that we've all underwent, right? And in terms of the anger, right? Because it's all energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important for us to deal with the anger, find out the source of the anger,
Mm-hmm.
because that anger could be misdirected and wind up, hurting ourselves and the
Mm-hmm.
people closest to us, right? Because it gets to a point where the anger is in control. The anger controls us. So you're not thinking clearly,
Mm-hmm.
and you cannot separate yourself from it, and it does damage to you and to those around you. And it could lead into things like health issues, high blood pressure, and to name a different things, because it's something that's inside of you and it's not dealt with, and
Yeah.
over time it can be very harmful to you, your person.
Yes.
So for me as a young person coming up, I had anger issues. I didn't know where they came from, but it took a divorce, actually, that, something that was very painful to me. But at the time when I was manifesting my anger, I wasn't even thinking about, hey, I could lose my family, and just, so anger doesn't make you think rationally,
Mm-hmm.
and if you are, I think we men, we have anger, and anger is great when we have to protect ourselves and protect our family. Like if we were, living in a different time where, but out in the village or somewhere, we had to fight or flight, protect our family. That's, anger is great that way, right? Because you can use it to its fullest. But when you are in a civil situation, especially with your spouse, or it could be an employer or a coworker, you have to keep that temperament, be able to control that.
Yes.
Yes, feel it. You're a human being, feel it.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do with it? How are you going to let it play out? Are you going to step back, collect your thoughts, and let the higher self just reason out the situation? So anger has its there's a time for it, and there's a time, to be in charge of it, and let your higher self take charge of the situation. So it has to be directed.
But Aaron, is that a word? I what you're saying is, it's great, it's amazing. But is that a word that is used so recklessly when it comes to our people? Like, even when we're not angry, like, we could just show up in a room and somebody think, because I work with people that think, oh, I don't want to mess with Sandra because when I show up with a smile, I'm smiling, and somebody would say, I don't want to mess with her. So, as you say, it's that thing that was said about us, or that language that's been communicated over years and years and years. Now people think that we're people to be afraid of. When I know some Black men are some of the most gentlest men you can find on the planet. No anger at all, but they're perceived to be.
Right.
So how do we come together? I believe the question and the answer is, I believe that we can do this through education, educating people about who we are. And if people come out from themselves, and I always say, come get to know us, get to know a Black person before you start making assumptions about them. Get to know them, because we talk loud, we're passionate. It doesn't mean we're angry.
Right. Yeah. So they have to get outside of that perspective, that conditioning that they have undergone. And I think once they can people can step outside of that and see the person for who they are, that you're dealing with at this point, instead of a collective, take a chance and listen to that individual. I mean, we're no different than anybody else, right? Exactly. And get rid of the barrier, remove the barrier, and just see him as another being, that's speaking words, that's articulating, giving expressions. And I think if we can do that on both sides, if we remove our barriers, then we'd have clear open communication, and we can build trust, because there's a psychological program of distrust and separation, right? That's why we have black and white, one against the other. One's better, one's not better, right? So we have to get rid of those stereotypes and those mindsets, and build bridges, right, of communication and acceptance. Right, we don't have to understand them; just accept them. That's who they are.
Just accept them. Like Bob Marley said, and I'm paraphrasing because he sang a song, and he said, "Until we realize that one race is not superior above the other, and the other is not inferior or beneath you." Until we actually realize that and put that in practice, then he said, "Everywhere is war." Basically. The war will never end until no one is superior.
Yes.
So that's something that was man-made, superiority. Only God is superior, for Pete's sake. But the fact that a set of people can think that they're superior and the other is inferior, he's saying everywhere is war, like we're seeing right now. Yeah, and he's absolutely right.
Yes. Yeah. And something else we have to keep in mind is that there are people, organizations out there that want to keep us divided.
Yes.
They want to keep us divided. Is conquer, separate, and
divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer.
Yes.
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer.
All peoples, we outnumber those that want to control this world, and all we need to do is unite. Forget about color, forget about nationalities, come together.
Can you imagine if we unite? Let me just take a pause to read what Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for watching. And we appreciate your comment. Michelle had a big, long comment here. She said, discrimination starts with us Black people. Okay, discrimination starts with us Black people amongst ourselves. So she said, I asked this Black nurse at work if she was from Nigeria, and she got upset saying, do I look like I'm from Nigeria? So I said to her, I thought we were all Blacks, and this tell me that we continue to discriminate amongst ourselves, and she said it's so sad, and we do, and it's because, like Aaron said, it's because we're set up to be that. So if we were put in somebody sent me a post this week, and it said the way the slave masters would set up the Indians against the Black, even though we were on the same land. For example, Guyana or Jamaica, where you have Indians and you have Black people, they would actually set up the Indians to think that they're superior than us, and they would, so that they set us and put us in little silos. Somebody said, Joe Jacobs said, what people don't want to hear is that many whites today are tired of hearing that they're still the problem because of slavery. However, culture, even those in Africa have all had enslaved people, even made shanken heads and pokes against other tribes, even in biblical scripture, have concubines, which is the slave war. Oh, wow, Joe, thank you. But you know what I said this week? I think I said this to somebody this week. I said, not because I slap my child, it doesn't mean that you slap my child too, because if you slap my child, it's not going to be nice. So because we do it to ourselves, that's a whole nother discussion. And we do it to ourselves, and I think every race have their own bad apples, and we have our own things to work out. We do it to ourselves, but it doesn't mean that another person should do it to us. It doesn't forgive the other people from doing. We can't. So that's a whole nother conversation, Joe. It's a big conversation. We're working out. We're spending hours and hours working out our problems in our house. But I don't want you to come to my house and take it out on the street and treat me like my problem. I want you to come alongside and help me. And of course, we recognize that we have Black and Blacks, and we recognize that even in Africa, even our own people were selling our own people into slavery. So we know that. We know that history. But it does not mean that because that was happening, that another set of people should come and take advantage of us. It doesn't excuse it.
Yeah,
So
there's a long history of slavery in the world. I mean, the
yeah.
Europeans wasn't the first. I mean, the Muslims enslaved Africa, probably before the Africans. But the transatlantic slave trade is I think it was one of the longest and most brutal and cruel. And we are descendants of it. We're here to speak of it because it has impacted us. So we're talking about it because it's part of us.
It's
So,
part of us, and
yeah.
and we have children that is in this society, and we're having the conversations because I remember when I was in school as a young girl, nobody taught me about my history. I heard about Christopher Columbus. That's all I hear about, Christopher Columbus and his men. The textbook we read about it was about Christopher Columbus and his men. They have not given, and I was raised in Jamaica, and they did not ever give us a book about the revolution, the Nani and the Maroons. They never give us. If they talk about it, it was in bite sizes.
Yeah.
So it was really as an adult that I started to.
It's not the colonizer's job to teach us our history. It's our responsibility to learn our history. And we have many great authors and historians, out there that have written books. I mean, believe it or not, I actually got into our history, Afrocentric history, from my son. Because I've been here since 10. I grew up in this system, and I never really started to think about African history and my family and where we came from, what we went through. So it's got to be our responsibility, and the information will come to you at some point, and you just have to embrace it and just continue to learn and implement the information that can help you to elevate yourself and your thinking.
So Joe said, I'm trying to find out how to help Blacks in my family. And she's saying we're a blended family. However, our Blacks family members are being attacked by the Black community. However, we are supposed to react. Or are we supposed to react? My military side starts to come out. So Joe, we're happy that you're tuning in.
Yeah.
We love this, and I think I would love to speak to you further and off here. And as I go back, I say it's education, and I believe, and this is where we talk about mentoring. We do understand that we have a black and black problem, and like Michelle clearly said, we do understand that we're not united. We do understand that there is an issue in our community. Like I had challenges. I had things that I have to be rewriting. Like I have a black son, so this situation just makes me and I have a black daughter, and I'm black, right? I can't deny that. But what you're saying, Joe, is true. And we will admit that it's true. But today we're not talking about black and black. We're talking about black and others. So we're talking about black and others. And we understand that we have some things to work on. And I would invite you and invite all the people who are watching and all the people who will watch for us to come together. It's really a come together time, because I think together we're better, together we're stronger, together we can do more. And I think we can no longer say it's their issue. It's that lady and her son's issue. Oh, it's those people in the project's issue. I think we have to look at it as our issue. And the moment we start seeing it that way, whether you're Caribbean, whether you're African, whether you're Canadian, but the moment we start seeing it that way, it's the moment we're going to have real change. And some of these guys who are misbehaving or doing bad things on the street and giving moms and dads a bad name, they're crying out for help, Joe. They need to be healed. And these young men, and they were treated, some of them, not making an excuse for them, but a lot of them were treated horribly in the school system, and they were told that they're no good and they can't do better. So those messages were told to them, and they received those messages, and they're acting out this. And it's a system that was set up for them to fail and for them to go through the school system. They have a word that they use, Aaron, and it's called the school to prison pipeline. And I'm like, who came up with that language? It's called the school to prison pipeline. And this is what happened to our Black kids. So you going to school to go to prison? I thought you go to school to be something, but you go to school to go to prison because it's communicated to them. My son came here from the Caribbean and somebody told him that he could not take the courses that he wanted to take. I had to put on my IE shoes. I get dressed that morning, put on my suit and some red lipstick, and I went down to the school and I told the guidance counselor that no, my son will take the courses he wants to take. So again, parents, we have to take responsibility too. We have to show up. We have to be in the schools. We have to be in our children's rooms. We got to search under their beds. We got to look in their school bags. We got to be vigilant. While we're praying, we got to be active in their lives. And that doesn't mean go to work and I do 2 jobs and come home and sleep. It means that you have to be active so that we can solve the in-house problem, so that we can have better communities. That's just my concern.
Definitely. You have to be aware.
Yes.
Be aware, be present,
yes.
Be active and communicate with your children, find out what's going on, what's their experience daily, and talk them through scenarios, situations that they're facing. But I agree with Joe. It's a human problem.
It's a human problem.
There's a human problem going on right now, a human issue. And I think all peoples, we have to come together. We have to get rid of the things that divide us and find the things that can unite us, our humanness, because sooner or later we are going to have to depend on each other. Our survival as a species, will come down to us coming together, supporting each other, because we're seeing what's going on in the world today. There are people that that are just bent on dividing us and just putting us in a dark place. So we have to come together, look past how we've been conditioned, how we've been programmed, and connect with our humanness and help each other.
So Aaron, how do we? What you're saying is great. It's amazing. How do we heal from here? I know we have to forgive. We talk about forgiveness, and we have to forgive the people who are attacking us or coming at us. But I think for us to come together as a community, we need healing. Yeah,
we need to have healing, conversations, people coming together and be honest with and connect, because I think most people are maybe disconnected to their emotion, and that emotion comes out as anger because they cannot, speak to it. They cannot explain it. They cannot. It's just an emotion. And for men, it's probably just an aggression. But I think being in a comfortable space, where we can talk, just get it out.
How do you deal with it, Aaron? Tell me about you. Tell me about you. You're a Black man, and I like you. You just hit the nail on the head. Many Black men. I mean, this week I think I see more Black men cry than I've ever seen in history. This week, Black men are crying everywhere, in television, in the streets. Black men are breaking down in tears, and so of course they're past. They're feeling anger, but I think they're past anger. I think they're saying, "I'm crying, help! Somebody help!" Like George Floyd said, mama, help. I think that's where our Black men are. So you're saying coming together, but Aaron, how do you feel in this time, and how are you healing? How are you getting to your healing place?
Well, for me, I look at it in different ways. I mean, we want to talk about what the man, how he was treated. That was uncalled for, right? From what I understand, it's not what police are trained to do. It was definitely wrong. But when I look to see how things are playing out in the States, I have to think did somebody plan to put, to aggravate a huge wound and to have it manifest into something, that's going to work out to their benefit. So I feel that we're being used.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that we're being used. And for me, emotionally, I think there's so many Black people, melanated people are being killed every day.
Every day.
Just Memorial Day, there is one of I think the 5th largest shootings in Memorial Day history. 10 people died. I think 39 people were injured. That was not on the news. The media, I think, is they're just channeling us in a particular direction to take our attention off certain things that are going on in society and community. I think, we're.
Well, Aaron, what do you suggest we do? How do we get into ourselves, which is where is the safest place for us, so that we can put out in the universe what needs to be put out. Yeah, because you're absolutely right. We can't listen to everything. We can't read everything and believe everything. We can't be vulnerable. We can't succumb to everything. But we live in this world. Right. So how do we keep ourselves and in each other safe in a crazy world?
Well, fear is a weapon of the day. We have to insulate ourselves from fear and not be mindful of what we put into our mind. Mm-hmm. We have to be in charge of our emotions. You're going to see things happening around you. You have to respond, be able to respond to it, and not react.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When we're reacting, we are controlled by the external. And that happens a lot in the social conditioning, right? With the bombardment of fear, right? Take charge of your mind, be in charge of your emotions, and understand, where you're going when you see certain situations, how it's impacting you. We have a say in how things impact us.
Yes.
Yes. We have a say. And some people might build up a situation to be this big, but when you step back and look at it in perspective, you might say, well, why are they showing that side of it? Why not this? Why not that? Why not this? What are their intentions? What are their intentions? So I think we just have to be able to be in charge of ourselves and to be able to critically look at the information that we're being fed before we make that decision.
Well, Aaron, Julia said, recent racist actions are sadly another pandemic. I think that's where you're going, Aaron. Julia got you. Julia said,
you know what?
Pandemic.
We cannot be naive. We have to wake up. We have to wake up. Wake up. This is time to wake up. We are controlled. People are controlling us through the media. The media is. I'm sorry, I don't want to. I know this program is not like this, but let's keep it real, man.
I know we're not like this, but we're on edge tonight. It's fine. It's fine.
No, I mean, if you look at the media, like this, in America, and it's America, but it's always in our face, right? What's going on in Canada? We don't know. We know more about what's going on across the border than what's going on in Canada, right? Like the whole world is supporting the fight, fight for justice, but if it's a honest fight and something good is going to come out of it, great. But if people are manipulating the situation for their benefit, then I'm not for that.
Our time is up. Chief is in the background telling us our time is up. And you just said something amazing as we're gonna close. You said if something good is gonna come out of it. So as I'm a believer, I'm a strong believer. So I really hope that something good comes out of this, and we're not going to repeat this when I'm 70 years old, and I'm not going to see my grandchildren doing this when I'm 70 years old. So all that's going on, I don't know if I should agree with you and Julia and say it's a pandemic. Yeah. I don't know if it's a time. I believe there's a time and season for everything under the sun. So I don't know if this is a season and this might be it. I'm not going to take any sides. I'm just going to say we're just going to leave last word to say, I am hopeful. That's my last word. And guys that are watching, tell us how you feel. Are you hopeful? Are you optimistic? Are you done? Are you not buying into it? Yeah. Tell us in the comments what you're feeling right now.
Success word. We got to organize. We got to create structure. We got to create, tangible things that can make a difference, which we haven't done. We've marched for years and years and years. We got a long way to go, but it starts with us, having a vision, for ourselves and creating organizations that will help us to get to where we need to go.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. Beautiful people. We wish we have more time to talk with you guys, but we're on the clock, right? And so we got to go. But we invite you to talk to us. We're on Facebook. Find us. We're easy to find. It's Sandra Turgot, Aaron George, and we're also coaches, and we do coach people back to their wellness. So if you're interested, reach out to us, call us up. We love you guys. Ghana, somebody said Ghana is on my bucket list. Yay for Ghana. Hit me up. We'll go together. All right. Good night. Good night, right. Everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks for watching.
Blessings.
Yeah.
Blessings.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Byond exists to define purpose through holistic mentoring. At Byond, we will assist you to achieve success, enjoy inner peace, and live your best life. Basically, we're here to inspire you to heal and transform. Byond umbrella consists of Byond Talk, Byond Virtual Learning Space, Byond Coaching and Mentoring Services, and Byond Online Shop. For more information, visit us at www.sandraturgot.com or contact us at byondonline@gmail.com.
Dak TV.
I think we're